Vineyardchicks, we are receiving a message from the Shed Wars base that Homestead Aquarius is the new team leader, but some question, is he worthy? We are also receiving the following transmission from Team Aquarius headquarters.
Whoever be he worthy, you shall have the power. Whatever, man, it's a trick.
Oh, what in the world? We can't have this.
You slimy toad.
Vineyardchicks to Team Aquarius, you are cleared for landing. Hang a right just past the vineyard.
It's late April and early May in growing zone 6B, and many of our hardy plants are moving outside, and in this episode you'll see more of my family's gardening tricks leading up to the last frosting. And stay tuned to the end to see our favorite ways to cook kale.
This is the way. This is the way. This is the way.
This is the way. Chapter 1. Recycled Materials.
Reuse, repurpose, and recycle whenever you can. We made this watermelon tree out of an old bucket and scrap PVC pieces. If you'd like to see more, check out my single seed challenge video in our gardening playlist. Chai and I are also reusing all this garlic that is starting to sprout. Yeah, my family uses a lot of garlic. In late April, we can directly sow garlic outside.
This is the way. Chapter 2. Crowd planting.
I'm Mighty. I'm trying to plant me some red Russian cow. Can you tell who I'm trying to voice? Hint. It's Homestead Aquarius. Okay, so I am going to be casting and called crowd planting my red Russian cow, like I said. I'm going to do it like microgreens. To move on is basil. I love basil. So my teaching tip for today is crowd seeding. Crowd seeding is awesome because we're going to put this by my tomatoes so it doesn't get weeds. Let's start. I love basil. And crowd seeding is awesome. Now, we wet our soil before I started, like we did with my tomatoes. I wet the soil before I started.
This is the way. Chapter 3. Divide and prosper.
After a couple days of hardening off, we moved these hardy plants outside to divide and prosper. This is our onions, chives, and lavender. Get to plant my lavender, just like the other way. Divide and prosper. Here are our onions, and we are going to divide and prosper them into this bag. And I came up with this great idea of putting this extra piece of our water container. Did you know we have a DIY tray playlist with all of Trey's cool inventions? Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification button so you don't miss our next video. I planted all my onions, and I'm not here to show you how to plant the onions, go to Willie Glow's channel if you want to figure that out. But what I'm here to show you is how to divide and how to cluster. So we divided these onions from those recycled containers just like we did with the lavender, except we are planting a moist shallow like in Willie Glow's video.
This is the way. Chapter 4, Traditional Planting.
Okay, so it's 2 weeks till last frost day. So we have to start our pumpkins, spaghetti squash, and cucumbers. Now if you can see this number 3 right here, this is Miss Adrian's secret seed. All of my little seedlings that I planted a couple days ago that you gotta see it. So up here we have my pumpkins, my pumpkin orange and stuff, and they're doing great. And here I Homestead Aquarius rattlesnake beans.
Traditional planting. This is the way. This is the way. Chapter 5. Tree and vine cuttings.
It's late April, so Dad is grapevine pruning in the vineyard. I'm back in the greenhouse, and today I'm putting some St. Vincent cuttings in my cutting bed. And remember these guys? Our little raspberries and my fig trees? They're doing great. None of these had leaves when I put them in the dirt, and none of these figs had leaves when I put them in the dirt either. So they're doing great. Remember how we did my raspberries where we just made holes, dipped them in rooting hormone, and put them in the holes? Well, today I'm going to do the same thing with my St. Vincent grapevines. So let's get started. Now we are going to put my St. Vincent clippings from the vineyard in my holes. But don't forget about our wooding hormone. Now don't bleed the wooding hormone.
Vine and tree cuttings. This is the way. This is the way. Chapter 6. Garden prep.
The tarp covers the area where our family plants pumpkins and squash. And yes, that's Mary the Cheshire Goat over there, still all by herself. Moving dirt is quick work with the new Branson 2515H tractor. We don't have a rake attachment though. KK's playing hot potato. 1 potato, 2 potato. Oops, I better not keep counting in case you know who's watching. Don't forget the turnips. We've never grown them before, but Dad says his grandma used to mix them in her mashed potatoes. I love mashed potatoes. Piece of cake. I mean bed of potatoes and turnips. Speaking of the potato experiments, here's our other potatoes. They have been doing great despite the frost.
Our mom had this really great idea to use these T-posts like crowbars to tighten the hay bales. We do it kind of like this.
You get the idea.
So today I'm going to be conditioning our straw bales in the garden. For days 1, 3, and 5, I'm going to be adding a quarter cup of our nitrogen. Now, I have a 4600 mix. So if you have a lower number, then you're going to want to do a half cup. But since I have a high number like 46, I'm only going to be using a quarter cup for each bale. I'm going to be soaking each bale after adding the nitrogen until I can see the water leaking out of the bottom of the bale. And then the next day we're going to soak it again, and then the day after that add another quarter cup. For 3 times we'll do that. So just going to sprinkle a quarter cup of nitrogen onto this hay bale.
2 down, 70 hay bales to go. Woohoo! And every couple days, we also take its temperature to make sure things are heating up. We need to get them up to about 45 Celsius, halfway there.
Consistent garden prep. This is the way. This is the way. Chapter 7, Harvesting Food.
We're harvesting kale today. Just want to go this low. We're going to cook this sort of like we cooked our broccoli. These flowers are beautiful. Really low. See how big that is? We're going to cook this and have yummy stuff. And this kale did not overwinter, but rather we moved it outside last month in this covered dome. You may remember this from my Divide and Prosper chapter last time.
Pretty about 7 pounds. So the total for the kale this week is 6.75 pounds. Guess what? I could just spin it this time.
He's spinning.
Change that anything.
Choice.
No, it's not my fault. £3. Right. Ooh, a sticker.
My sticker. Stamp it too.
There. Let's see it. Yeah, let's see it. 209? Yeah. An egg total is 8.125 pounds. So our weekly total is 14 7/8 pounds. Nice.
Kale and broccoli rabe are both part of the brassica family, so we can cook them the same way.
We fry our broccoli or kale in olive oil with lots of garlic. Salted kale chips are a healthier potato chip alternative. Just salt and bake till crispy.
What in the world?
March totals:
We can't have this.
21.75 pounds. April total: 12.88 pounds. Yearly total:
You slimy toad.
34.63 pounds.